Hello, myself Kamesh, lead developer advocate at Snowflake. Welcome to this short demo on how to query Apache Iceberg tables with an external engine, in this case DuckDB, using Snowflake's horizon catalog. Let's get started with creating an external volume. Basically, external volume creates an S3 bucket, an IAM role and a policy, and an external volume in Snowflake so that Snowflake-managed Iceberg tables can store their data inside S3 buckets. There are a bunch of steps that is required for this, and this utility script that I have created right now kinds of automates all those tasks. As you see, it creates an S3 bucket, create an IAM policy, create an IAM role, and then create a Snowflake external volume finally, retrieve the IAM user and attach to the policy and update it. Lastly, we also verify the external volume so that all things are set. It also gives you a sample how to use this external volume to create an Iceberg table. What's next? The next step is to basically create some Snowflake objects and use this external volume so that we can create a managed Iceberg table as given as an example. Let's call this as setup Snowflake. The setup task basically creates a database name, Kamesh is underscore DuckDB Iceberg demo, under your Snowflake user, which will be your Snowflake user, and also create a service account role called as DuckDB demo role. And finally, an external volume that we created in the previous step. And lastly, it's also grant usage in the database to this DuckDB demo role. In order to query, for example, in our case from a DuckDB, I'm going to use the Programmatic Access Tokens that Snowflake provides and attach the Snowflake role that we created earlier. Let me go and create rotate pat. As you see, this command is basically going to create a programmatic access token, a network policy that allows access only from your local IP address, and then attach this policy to a service user that we created earlier and all these stuff. So that like whenever DuckDB queries, it can use these credentials to kind of query the IRC, the REST APIs, Snowflake-managed Iceberg catalog REST APIs, which is backed by Apache Polaris incubating, so that like they can query the tables and the data and etc. from DuckDB. So let's wait for a few seconds for this to be done. There we go. We got our path created and everything is done and ready. So let's go to our workbook to see like if we're able to query this. Before that, let's also create some sample data. Create sample data. So this is going to create a sample data that we can query from our DuckDB locally. So it's going to essentially have a fruits table with a bunch of fruits in them. All right. I'm on my notebook. Let's see if we are able to query the fruits table from DuckDB. I'm just going to import something, then pull something out from the environment. Then I have to do two things. One is the Iceberg path secret. Basically, if you remember that we created the path for the SA user, I'm going to use that to connect to Snowflake Horizon Catalog, REST API. So that's what I'm doing next. And then I'm going to create these two things right now. Loading the extension, Iceberg extension here and HTTPFS extension. So this are loaded successfully. And let's see if I'm able to query the data. Boom. I don't get anything now. So you'll be wondering why I'm not able to get anything out of that, though we created one table. The simple reason is being that there is no RBAC attached right now. Even with that, the biggest advantage that we're getting with Horizon Catalog is that even if it's the Snowflake's managed Iceberg table, it adheres to the governance and other rules, RBACs and ACLs that Snowflake defines. For now, we are just given the usage on the database to the SA role, but we have not given the SA user or the role the access to the schema and the table. That's what we're going to do next. Let's quickly do that. Task setup RBAC. Right now, I've granted a select on the table that we created earlier. Let's go and see if I'm able to query it again. There we go. There you see, it's querying the table right now, and it's getting the data for you in a few seconds. There we go. We're able to query the data right now. That's the biggest advantage with Horizon Catalog is that even though we use Iceberg, the governance and RBAC and everything, we are democratizing them so that the user or any query that is going to use it is going to adhere to the governance principles that we define on Snowflake. I hope this video was useful to allow you to get started with Horizon Catalog and query Iceberg tables, Snowflake managed Iceberg tables from external engine. Thank you so much for watching. See you in another video another time.